So today, so this is a course on data analytics. So so there are two parts to it, right? One is your data part, and another is analyzing the data part. Uh, are you able to see my screen, both of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So as I told you, you cannot analyze a data which is not clean. So what could mean by a unclean data? Unclean data could mean incomplete data. It could mean corrupt data, in the sense, instead of typing a name, there was some numeric characters. Instead of typing a date, there was some other text character. So when you are expecting a data in a particular particular data, you are actually expecting to be in a particular format. Sometimes the size of the data is too big. So for example, the data size in the table will be just like it can accommodate 15 characters, but you send 30 characters. Now what is going to happen for the remaining characters? It is going to be truncated. So in that case also, again, data is there is a data structure issue. So sometimes there's a in the data structure there's a data size issue, and so it is not only, sometimes the data may be right, but your data structure is not good enough to accept the data. Sometimes the data the volume of data is so large, the database is full, then is like the drum becoming full. So after that, the data is going to be not been accepted, and you're going to lose the data. It is simply going to try to add the data, and it is going to throw error, and it is not going to get added. So data collection also becomes very important, that if the volume is so much, then how do you make sure you're collecting in the correct way, so that you don't lose the data. So that's why. So data completion involves a lot of clean data requires a lot of checks and balances to be looked into, that whether whatever you have collected is okay, whatever you collected, the data is perfect, it is complete, it is clean, and everything. And so that process itself becomes like a huge process, and only after that you can analyze. So there are two parts to it, as I told you. So data analysis comes in the end. So right now today, since we are dealing with data, spreadsheets, basically. Sally, are you aware about spreadsheets? Have you heard what is a spreadsheet? Have you used a spreadsheet like Excel or anything?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So basically, you can do a little bit of practice on the spreadsheets. You should be very comfortable with before even we touch SQL or NoSQL. Those before you get into this technology. This spreadsheet is something people play around with. So there is a manual. It can be a manual cleaning also, right? It is not necessarily that it is client the data has been cleaned by a program. So data, sometimes they do a manual check also, just to have a oversight, like there should be a person also to verify before giving it to the program. Maybe that is faster. So that's why when you are cleaning the data, let's say, or formatting the data in a particular way for so that it is suitable for data analysis, you have to be good with spreadsheets also, and that is why you have to master the spreadsheets. And so when we say master the spreadsheet, we are looking at data formatting, data cleaning, applying, creating new data, in the sense you have this two data coming in, A and B. Which is like the value is like, let's say, 1 and 2, and you want to get the result of it. So you should be able to apply mathematical functions on that. Sometimes you want to get some statistical output. Sometimes it is mathematical output, simple addition, simple subtraction, and those kind of. Hold on, is it recording? Yeah. So as I said, there can be a simple mathematical functions to apply. Then you should know what all mathematical operations can be worked on. It is not only subtraction and addition, right? It can mean you want to take an average. So the So apart from addition, so mathematics, and then it slowly flows into statistics, where simple mathematics would mean find an average of it and find a median of it. So then the question comes, it is not really about data, but do you understand these functions, what these functions are supposed to do? Then it can be like geometric functions also, right? It can be like tan x, tan of x, log of x, etc. And it can be statistical functions also. So statistical function could be, what is variance, what is correlation, coefficient. So those, if you're not aware about all these what these terms mean and how to apply it, so then you will not, it become little difficult, or at least you will not know what formula should I apply, to analyze the data or create a data in a particular format. And that is the reason you're not only learning spreadsheet, but actually you're learning all the functions also. So you have to do this study work. If anybody is let's say if you're applying for a data analyst job, that should be one of the skill work. You are very good in spreadsheets. It may mean Excel spreadsheet. So I am using LibreOffice. It is written on the top over here. If you can see this, it's very small. This LibreOffice. So LibreOffice is free. That's why I'm using LibreOffice. Excel, you have to have the license and everything, and I have this licensing problem. Sometimes those errors come up, renew the license, activate the license, and those kind of stuff. So LibreOffice is a better option for me right now. It is free and it is working good enough. Little bit the way we use the formula may be a little different, but most of the almost the function name and everything is same. So you can use LibreOffice. So do install that LibreOffice, go through training, some kind of either a spreadsheet training or Excel training, and try to learn as much as possible, especially using the functions. And then later in spreadsheet you can also create visualization, like you can create charts and everything, and you can create bar graph, line graph. So you have to know what all different types of output display format, in how many ways you can present a data, using a line graph, using a bar graph, using a stacked bar graph. So you should know what which graph is relevant, how many types of graphs are there, so those the visualization thing you have to be very comfortable with, because the output of data analytics is ultimately should be data visualization. So people are not going to look at a long range of numbers and say, okay, this is what it is. No, you're looking at big data, means there's going to be a huge amount of data, and data is coming in chunks. Not all the data can be seen in one shot. How much data can you see on one screen? So data visualization is very important from that perspective. So if you're not able to, one is your data analytics that you apply all the formulas and you derive some information out of it. Then that information has to be displayed somehow on using the data visualization techniques. Then in data visualization, how should I present the data? Should I present like a bar graph? What color coding scheme should I use? What data series should I use? Where the data will be pulled from. There all these questions will be put, you'll face in case when you're dealing with data analytic solution. So I felt this class is important because in case if you have not done spreadsheets or you have not done enough, this is a time in your career where you have to get comfortable and good at. So whenever you are looking at data, we are looking at a data set. A data set can be a set of data, right? A set of names it can be, or set of employees. If you're saying a set of employees, then the employee itself is not a data but a data structure, right? Employee is a data structure consisting of multiple attributes. So it can be employee, and the employee can contain the name, can contain the department, can contain the date of joining, or even it can contain the date of leaving, So employee data is a complex data structure. It carries multiple data elements. So you can, that is also data, and you can have a data set containing a set of employee data. So data can be simple range of values, or it can be also be a simple range of data structures. But whenever you're looking at data set, so not only employee is one data structure. Now you can say, no, I have like employees data and company, along with that, some more information attached to the employee, maybe his resume or something, but it is part of a data set. So there can be two different data sets, right? One is a data set of all the companies in all the departments, and what is the total the expenditure, what is the total income of that department, what is the total number of employees. That also could be mean one data set. So you can be dealing with multiple data sets, and sometimes the data is correlated between two data sets, right? And one end it is like a table in the database. So one end you have a table of employees, so and another end you have a table of all company summary information. So all the department wise, you have the summary of your output, right? What is the total number of employees in the department, and which are the employees. And so your structured database like SQL helps you create tables and helps you create relationships, making sure that if you are referring to some employee, that data has to be there in the employee table. So that is a referential integrity rule, right? So we are making sure that there is a so it's a kind of a foreign key primary key relationship. So for every employee mentioned in the company database, there has to be a record in the employee database. That could mean your referential integrity, your foreign keys. So a data set can be in the format of structured format or semi-structured format. So Sahili, can you tell me what is the difference between structured format, semi-structured format, and unstructured format?
So the structured data means everything is in a proper way. Means data is generally maintained, and in semi-structured.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
And in semi-structured format, data is in a mixed format. Means numbers, strings. Sometimes it may be images, videos.
Okay. Yeah, that is not okay. What is unstructured data?
That is unstructured, and semi-structured means I'm not able to explain exactly.
Okay. Have you have anytime you have created a table in a database?
Yes.
Yeah. So that is what type of database? It is an RDBMS. Is it a SQL database? Is it a NoSQL? What type of database it is?
SQL database, a relational database.
Right. So that relational database.
I have used MySQL.
So relational database is your structured database actually.
Yes, sir.
So you can create tables in that, you can create columns in that, and then you can add data values in that, correct? And then you can fire query on that. You have done all this, right?
Yes.
Okay. So structured data, when we talk about structured data, we are talking about mostly about RDBMS data, your SQL data, okay? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you understood what structured data is?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you explain me what is structured data then?
Structured data is mostly structured data is a relational database. For example, MySQL, Oracle.
Okay. So MySQL, Oracle, and SQL Server, Microsoft's product MySQL Server, these are all examples of structured database. In this we have the data stored in structured format. And when we say structured format, we are talking about tables and rows and columns and keys and indexes. That is what is there in MySQL, right? You can create a table, you can create a columns, which is called a fields, and you can add data values, which is called rows. And then you can create an index, and you can create a foreign key, primary key. Correct? So that is a structured format. When you want to now can you tell me in a structured format, can you create a data without designing the table?
No.
Yeah. So that is the problem. No. Tomorrow, let's say I get you one. I send you one file of data. Now you have not created a table for that. Then, if the table is not existing, can you transfer the data into the structured database?
No.
Yeah. So this is one problem with a structured database, that the database has to be ready at design time, and it is not. If it is not designed at design time, then it will not be available at runtime. So runtime. So what I was trying to ask you is, if I give you a structured data at runtime, will it be able to add it to the database if it is not created at design time? So design time means you are creating a table, creating a rows and columns. So do you understand the difference between when I say database at design time and database at runtime?
Yes.
Okay. Can you explain me the difference? What do you mean by database? You applying data at runtime versus
design time means where we make a format of the table, means how our table should look like. For example, ID, name,
right.
column for saving phone number, address. So that is designing is creating a format of the table, and runtime is just adding values into the table.
Right. So it is very structured, right? Structure means it is very perfect. There will be so many columns. It will be like you always know what is the full structure of the table. How many columns will be there, and what will be the data values, what will be the data type, what will be the data size. Whenever you create a table, it is never going to happen that you don't know something about the table, right? That is why it is called structured format, or you can say it is fully structured.
Since we have prior information about the
very
table.
good. Now semi-structured, what happens? There is no design only. You can create the data, and but the thing is, you have to create the data in a particular structure, particular way. That is what is semi-structured. There is no design. For example, now in front of your eyes, I will create a semi-structured database without designing the table. So I go into Notepad++, let's say, a simple text editor, and now you see this is this data is there, which is there. Actually, this is in a JSON format. So if you see, are you able to see the structure of the data in this? What all fields are there in this? Can you read and tell me what all fields are there?
Client ID, project ID, then links are given.
Yeah. So if you see, is this data like haphazardly created, or it is having some structure?
It is haphazardly created, no structure.
No, there is a structure. No, there is a structure that you open a bracket on the top, right? And then you have a installed data field. Inside installed data field, you have defined another. There is a structure. In installed, what you have? In installed, you have inside your client ID, you have project ID.
There are no rows and columns.
Yeah. But was this data created at design time, or was it created at runtime? Tell me now.
Runtime.
Runtime. Very good. So, but is this data fully structured? Is there a table existing anywhere?
No.
No. That is why this is called semi-structured data. Semi-structured data, can be in different formats. This is a JSON format. If you create any data in JSON format, you have to start with the open brace, then you have to close with the open brace. Let's say I want to create my tomorrow I want to add one more column. Okay, so what I do is, all that I do is I put a comma over here and I say more data, something like, let's say my name I want to put, so I'll put my name and I'll put a colon and I'll send my name also. So now did I create another field at runtime? Correct? Nobody stopped me from creating this. No, this is just a simple text file.
Yes.
So that means a semi-structured data. Now which is which is much more faster, much more easier to use? Is it structured database or is it semi-structured database?
Sorry, semi-structure.
Semi-structure, that's why. So the thing is, there's so much of big data is like every day data is getting created by all over the world. No, you are also, let's say you go on a YouTube or you go on a Instagram, you create a post or you send a picture, that is it, data file only. So all this data can also be created in semi-structured format. What is the name of the file, what is the date of the time when the file was created, what is what all objects are there in the image, all that information can be created as a semi-structured information and can be received by the server. You can also so from your machine you will create your semi-structured data, from some other part of the world some other people will be creating semi-structured data. Some people are creating from the Android phone, some people are creating from the from the Google Watch or whatever that watch device, smartwatch, or maybe somebody is having iPhone. So data is coming from all corners. Now iPhone is a different company, different operating system, they are creating the data in a different, they are also creating semi-structured data, but it is quite possible when they create the data they send only this much information. But let's say when Android is creating the data, it also sends a name, which means the same information which is received by two different sources can be a little different. So semi-structured data format, it will be structured, but it is semi means like not fully structured, so your program has to be intelligent to study this semi-structured data. So semi-structured, when you're dealing with semi-structured database, is this a SQL or do you think this is a SQL data? Does it look like a SQL data to you, or does it look like a no SQL data to you?
No sir, this is not SQL and no SQL data.
Yeah, this is a no SQL data, you can say. Can you repeat that? What type of data this is? This is a semi-structured, number one. Second, this is in a JSON format. And this third, if you want to query this database, you have to use some kind of a NoSQL database. Yeah, NoSQL database deals with semi-structured files. Now where is the data stored? In the files, right? I am creating this one file, then I can create one more file. In that one more file I can create who are the students. Let's say student, I'm creating a kind of an array in this. Let's say array of students. So you can say array of student is student name. So this is one column, or this is not a column you can say, but one attribute of the data structure. Let's say Siley is the name. Then another attribute of the student is subject studying. So let's say Siley is studying structured database. Then I create one more one more data, the second student's name. So again I send another name. So let's say this name is Prajakta, and then subject is, let's say she's doing data analysis. So this is a very simple JSON format. Not only it is simple JSON format, but this is a very simple string data. Do you understand what is string data?
Yes.
Okay, it is simple like characters or text data. You can, so I can put everything on one line like this. and so this is, let's say this is my data set containing two data values. Each data value has two attributes. So in Java, I can say this entire thing is part of one string which is in single quotes, and I can say in Java string s is equal to this. So I have created a data set on the fly without creating the database, without going into design time, and I can say print s. Not only I can print s, but I can view s also. Let's say I have some JSON data with me. Okay, JSON. Let's see, do I have any JSON data with me? Okay, so there is some JSON data over here, over here something.json file. Let's pick up one of them. Let's see, I have not seen this, but let's see, open this. So when I'm trying to, first of all, let's see Notepad, how does it look like? See, you see a lot of data is there. They have created some in JSON format, but again, how can I, if I want to process this in the HTML page or in the browser, will the browser able to interpret JSON data? Let's see. So I'll try to open in Mozilla Firefox, because that is much more better. I don't want to do that. So see, even Mozilla Firefox is able to interpret this data and display it in a particular way. You can do this even in your HTML file. You can read this data and then print what is the start line, what is the start columns. So you are ready to program the entire data, and and once you have this data with you, you can do anything with that. You can clean the data, you can format the data, you can transform the data, you can analyze the data. So dealing with semi-structured data is not a SQL way of doing it, but it is a faster way of doing it. And once all that you have to do is you have to store the data in some either in the variable or in the file and send it, and you can create as many variables as you want, as many files as you want, and so you can manage big data very easily using NoSQL compared to managing big data in SQL. First of all, there is a design restriction. For second, there is a size restriction. It is difficult to expand and everything, but still SQL has its own advantages, in the sense you can query the database. It is more structured and much more easier to program compared to managing NoSQL. So do you understand the difference between structured and semi-structured now?
Yes.
Okay. So semi-structured and structured both have a particular structure, but when we say unstructured means we are looking mostly at something that we cannot read. For example, let's see, there is a PDF file, right? So let's see which PDF file. Let's say this PDF file is there. Now if I open this PDF file, it requires a software to be opened, and then only you can see the data inside that very clearly. But if I have to read this data, the reading of the data will be done in a simple notepad fashion, right? So let me open this in a notepad. And see what is there inside the data. Now is this data structured? Is it anyway structured?
No.
Okay. But is there some data inside this?
Yes.
Yeah, what is the data? It is a PDF format, right? Cover letter, software architect, whatever, this file is. You have, if you want to read this binary data, you need some software. And but this is an example of your unstructured data. Unstructured data, it is very difficult to know what is inside it. I need a software to open, then go inside the file and then read it, and then extract it out to know, okay, this is a date, this is a name, example. So it is more difficult to deal with unstructured data. So you need a software or a program that can read PDF format, and you can extract data out. So your text analytics can come into this, where you want to go inside the file and you want to programmatically pull the data out of it. It is not in any structured format, it is not in semi-structured format. Semi-structured format is very easy to manage, right? It is string data, but this is not string. This is like totally, not only it is binary, but it is we do not know in what way it is organized inside the PDF file. So definitely this file is organized in a particular way, in a particular in the PDF format, which only a PDF software can understand. But if our program has to read a PDF file, it also has to know what the software can do. Without that, it is very difficult to know what is the content in this file. So now can you tell me what is the difference between structured data, semi-structured data and unstructured data? What did you see just now in front of your eyes, and can you describe?
So structured data it's maintained and organized. There's rows and tables. And in semi-structured data, it is also arranged but not into table and row format.
Yeah. So basically, one is created at design time, another is created at run time. Okay. One has limitations, other one does not have limitations. Like in structured database, you always have a fixed number of tables, columns, and rows. In semi-structured, there is no fixed number of tables, columns, and rows.
Yes.
And what is unstructured?
Unstructured data is in the format of strings,
Not strings.
numbers. So
it is mostly in binary format.
Yes, in binary format.
Yeah. This is a structured data, and semi-structured are in readable ASCII format or Unicode format, but unstructured data is in a binary format. You cannot read it. Yeah. Okay. So now, so this was very important. These are the things which are going to be asked in the interview, and you all should know. In case if you are dealing with databases, these are the questions which will definitely going to be asked. What is the difference between structured, semi-structured, unstructured? Give us some examples. How will you manage this database? So now we come to the next thing. What is data in transit and data at rest? So this is also something which is going to be asked in the interview. This term is very popular. So transit means it is traveling. Let's say you're traveling from Borivali to Churchgate. That means you're in transit. But let's say you're resting at home. That means you are resting. Data is at rest. So data in transit means you are going on the internet. Then you type something on the browser that I want to visit some website. And then when you visit the website, that HTTP request goes to the server. So that time the data is in transit. Then you get the response from the server back to your browser. That is the data in transit. But before you made a request, the data was already there on the server. That means data is resting on the server. And once you transfer the data, you move the data, or whatever you do over the network, that is the time data is in transit. So data in transit means data is traveling or data is flowing from one source endpoint. So usually we call this as endpoint. So one end there is a server endpoint, one endpoint could be your browser. So now data has to travel between server and browser. So remember this term. What is a source endpoint, target endpoint? Source endpoint is where the data is generated or data is moving out of. target endpoint is where it is reaching. So every time the data is in transit, it has to move from one source endpoint to another target endpoint. So data at rest means data is not moving, or it is not traveling, or it is not flowing. It is in some rest state. So for example, you are saving some file on the on your hard disk. For example, when you open a file explorer, and let's say you are seeing all these files, this is an example where the data is not moving right now. This file is not moving. This is an example of data at rest. When you attach this file and send it in the email, it will go all the way to the server. It will travel all the way to the server. From the server, it will go to the recipient's inbox. That means the data is traveling. So that is the difference between data in transit and data at rest. So it is not only about the data we are dealing with, but we are dealing with, are we dealing with the data at rest, or are we dealing with the data in transit? So the endpoint, remember this word is a key word. Endpoint means where the starting point or end point, we say. So it can be a source endpoint or starting endpoint. So so the endpoint could be some source of storage. Storage means which means a hard disk, right? So that is your endpoint. For example, these files that you're seeing, what is the storage over here? This data is resting on an endpoint which is called data hard disk. Maybe the endpoint is not a storage. Maybe the endpoint is a database. So I hope you will understand this. So data can be residing on a particular storage device like hard disk, or it can be in MySQL database also, no? So inside this there is some table and there is some rows over here, x comma y. So your endpoints can be different. It can be this endpoint, or it can be a REST service, a REST service. So what is a REST service? We'll see some other time. But this is you can connect to this using a HTTP connection, and the output of this you'll get some data. So it works like your your web request. This you have to fire a query, then you get the data. This you have to simply read the file and you get the data. So how you get the data is different, but the endpoints can be different. So now you not only one REST services can be sending the data to the target endpoint on the other end, which is another REST service. This can also happen, or any combination can happen. MySQL data, you'll be pulling out the MySQL data and sending it to the browser. This can happen. You may be pulling it from the hard disk and you'll be sending it to the email server. This also can happen. So what is the source endpoints and target endpoints can be is depending on your application type, what you want, what you're doing exactly in the application. But usually when the data is resting, it is resting on some storage, or it is resting in some database, and that database also is resting on some storage. So I hope you all understand this. If you're creating a MySQL cannot exist in thin air, right? This MySQL database has to be stored on some storage device, like physical storage device like hard disk. So it is the database, the actual storage is hard disk over here. So here there is an example that data A is equal to 1 and B is equal to XYZ is on a storage device over here. Then I send the data to some other hard disk or some other pen drive or some other browser or some other application or some other program. It can mean anything. It can be traveling all the way over the internet from India to America. So data can be traveling through the wires, through the cables, or through the Wi-Fi device, anywhere. So A is equal to 1 and B is equal to XYZ travels all the way, and then you are finally seeing it over here on the other end. So this is the red ones are the example of data at rest. The green one is the example of data at transit. So I hope that is the difference between data in transit and data in data at rest. So that definition you should know. so last time we learned what is data processing, right? We may be cleaning the data, we may be filtering the data, we may be sorting the data, but anytime these operations are happening, it is happening on some data. So your input data can be in some CSV format, means comma separated values. So comma separated values means you can say so let's say notepad. So this was a JSON format, but a comma separated will look like the same thing will look like Siley comma let's say she is learning SQL over here, then the Prajakta comma data analysis. This is a comma separated file, values. But this kind of comma separated values file, it's very difficult to read because there is no attribute, there is no something like name is equal to something in this. So it is just like simple data is there. It is very difficult to read a comma separated file values compared to reading a JSON file. JSON file is more semi-structured and CSV is less semi-structured. You can say it is very difficult. Also, it is like it is not within the quotes, So if there is some space, let's say you want to write SQL Server. So what is this now? Is it a single word or is it a space? Is the space to be counted or not? So the program has to be very intelligent to know that until the comma, let's say inside the SQL Server only you want to add a comma now. Now what to do? Now the program will say this is two different words, but actually maybe it is one word. So all these issues come in a comma separated values file. So it is much more difficult, but definitely comma separated values based file is also much easier to read. And if it is like simple format like 1, 2, 3, 4, just capturing all the temperatures of the the AC temperature throughout the day, so then it is better to keep it in comma separated values. So if your data is very simple, use comma separated value. So input data.csv means comma separated value, input data.json means it can be in JSON format. So the extension is telling me what type of file it is. So this is going as an input, and then output you can .csv. So for example, you have 1 and 2 you are getting as an input file. Then you are creating a third file which will contain you adding 1 plus 1 to all the numbers. So the output value will be 2 and 3 over here. So earlier it was 1 and 2 when it was input, then you had transformed it and made it 3 and 4. So a new CSV file you created out of it. So whenever you are processing the file, it can be processed in steps also. Now this your input file you are getting A and B, then output you are doing A plus B, then again you are transforming it and multiplying it by C. So the data processing can work like a pipeline. So the data is flowing into one process, then we get an output, then that output is taken from another process and then moving into another process. So the data can be processed on different machines also. Let's say you are getting a lot of data from the internet, like everybody, or the Facebook is there, everybody is visiting the Facebook and everybody is uploading photo. Now one machine cannot handle the data, so what Facebook will do, it will store 10 photos in one file, 10 photos in another one file. Then it will take the 10 photos in one file and give it to one machine and say now you process it. Then it will take the 10 photos and give it to another machine. So the advantage of using multiple machine is parallel processing, right? You can process 20 data values at the same time, 20 images at the same time. More the number of images come and more machines are there, more parallel processing can be done and more faster the output is. So in 1 second you are going to get the output for machine 1 also, in the same time you are going to get the output for machine 2 also. So the time taken to process the data is faster. So your parallel processing, your technology that is most famous that is used is MapReduce technology of Hadoop, right? So MapReduce is the you can say the concept, and you can implement MapReduce. So MapReduce is all about taking big data and then separating it out into smaller files and then giving it to separate machines to process it at the same time. That is what is MapReduce doing it, and in the end, once you get the output, you combine all the your result, and then you get the output of it. So it is all about parallel processing at that front. So that is what this example is actually similar, trying to showcase you something on similar grounds. Here maybe on one machine only you are doing two data processing, or here you can say the same process has been duplicated on two different machines, operating on two different on the same data set but different data values. You could be using spreadsheets also to store your data, transform your data, analyze the data, clean the data, right? So that's why knowledge of spreadsheet is important. So these are some useful links where maybe I should share this file some other time, but you need to find links which will teach you your spreadsheets and statistics. So what are the common numeric functions used in a spreadsheets? Like sum means addition of everything, count is a total count of everything. Are you all aware about all this? Siley, have you used a sum function in your time, count function in your time?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so can you tell me what this function will do? Hello? Slightly you there?
Hello.
Yeah. Can you tell me what these functions will do? Sum function, count.
Sir, some will do addition. For example, 2 plus 3 is equals to 5. So do addition. Count will give total number of how many values are there. Max will give maximum number among all the other numbers. Likewise, minimum will give place number, that is minimum number from all the other numbers. Average will add all the numbers and divide by the total number of values.
Correct.
So sum product will give multiplication.
No, sum product is actually sum sum of products. So I'll explain you that. So your everything was correct except for the last one. So basically, if you have 1, 2, 3 in the spreadsheet over here, okay, so I can say what is sum over here, then what is the count over here, and what all functions are there? Mean, max, and average, right? So mean over here, max over here, average over here, and sum product. So sum would you can say equal to. Every time you want to in a spreadsheet you want to start a formula, you start with equal to, then you type the formula sum, then you open the bracket and then you give the range. So you can say the range is cell number B3. This is B and 3, right? So B3 is actually equal to 1. And then if you want to in LibreOffice, if you want to show the range of cell B3 2, so you put a colon over here and till B5. So this means B3 to B5, whatever value is there, you sum that value. So you are getting a value of 6. So 3 plus 2 plus 1 is 6. Then in the same way you can say count of equal to count of B3 to B5. So you are getting the count of, so count is 3 means 3 values are there. And let's say mean of this to this. So I'm getting 1. 1 is the minimum value in the data set. What is the max value in the data set? I'm getting 1 to 3. So 3 is the maximum value. And what is the average? So average, I do not know whether there's a function. Okay, you have to type full. Average of 1 to colon until B5. So you're getting answer as 6. Okay. to 2 is the average. Sum of product is basically you need a data range. Means let's say you have two data sets. You have let's say cost and quantity, right? And you want to find the total price. So let's say the cost of item number, quantity one is this is number 10, this is let's say 20, and this is 30. So if you want to calculate the sum product, this is where sum product I think will come to use. Sum product, right, of array 1 comma array 2. So, okay, so let's say array 1 is A3 till 30, A5, right, then comma, this is one data set A3 to A5, and then B3 colon to B5, second data set. And let's see what is answer. So answer is 140. So let's see how they got 140. 30 into 3 is 90, 20 into 2 is 40, 10 into 1 is 10. So this is a product. 10 into 1, 20 into 2, 30 into 3, and then you add all these values. All this is a sum, means sum of all these products. But how much it is? 140. So that is what is sum of products. Did you understand? Silent. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Did you understand what is sum of product?
Yes, sir.
Sum of
Yes,
product
yes,
is like
sir.
calculating the total price. So you need to not only multiply but add all your multiplied values. So this is a quicker way of doing it. Now the thing is, we usually know this simple functions, but you have to know this little complex function also, because you are dealing with you know, your data analytics. You're dealing with data. You should be able to calculate all this. You should know what all functions can be applied, and that is where your knowledge of functions should be complete. So these are your common string functions: lower, upper, concatenate, len, substring, find, search, left, right, trim. Prajakta, have you used these functions anytime?
Yes, sir. Means lower function will return values in lower, means
Lower
if
case.
letters are in capital letter, then it will return in lower case. Then upper function will return letters in upper case. Concatenate means it will concatenate two cells.
Two strings.
Then yes, two strings, correct. And length function will return length of the total string.
Yeah, so if let's say the string is James, what is the length of this string?
Yes, 3.
No, if it is James has got how many characters? J, A,
Okay,
M, S.
five characters.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, what is the next one?
Yes. Substring is I'm a little bit confused, but
Yeah. Okay, tell me the others. Left, right, and trim. What is left?
left means left function is used to write letters from left side. Since one string is there, then we can write left letter.
No. So let me. So basically, let's say you got let's say James D'Souza. This one string is there. Okay. So the length of the string will be like 11 over here. So when you say left, substring first of all means a string within a string. String within a string. This is called a substring. So let's say you want to extract position number 6 to position number 7. What is position number 6? Position number 6 is D, right? D S O. So if I say substring of this from position number 6 to 9, it will only give me the output from only that character. For example, substring, let's say, is there a function substring? Achha, substring is not there. Achha, so what is the sub? Okay, maybe it's not here because this is LibreSoft. But if you say substring, if you talk about find function is also like finding a string within a string, or string within a data set. There's a set of strings, or search, could mean anything of this. Basically, you're trying to find something inside something. You're trying to find it inside a string, or either you're trying to find inside a set of data strings. So set of data strings means I want to know, for example, there is another person called let's say Roger DeCruz, and there is John D'Souza. So I want to know which all names has got D'Souza, and I want to print all those names. So that's why this find, search, substring can help. Left would mean I want the leftmost 3 characters. So I can say I want the leftmost 5 characters. I'll just give the what is the length I want. So which means the leftmost 5 characters is JAMAS. If I say right of 6 means D'Souza will come out of this. So that is what left and right would mean. Trim would mean, let's say you purposely put some space in this over here, right? And then you put some space over here also. Now the thing is, what is the length of this string? If you say equal to length of this string, you are getting 19. Is 19 the correct answer?
Oh.
It is not, right? Because it has included space also. But that is why what I will do is I can first trim the value. I can say this is a trim. Trim means remove all the spaces. It is like trimming is like cutting your hair, no? Remove all the unnecessary hair, unnecessary spaces, that way. So I'll say trim of this. Now if I say length of this, I'm getting 11. So this is the correct value. So let's say I wanted to apply 2 formulas on this string. Okay, let me see. Actually, let me take this and put it in a different file. So this is like I had to put it is in a different this is a trimmed value, and then I took the length of it. But if I want to do both at the same time, what I will do, equal to trim of length of, sorry, first I have to trim, then I have to take the length, no? So it should take length of, and before doing the length I should trim it and then read the value over here, and then since I've opened the bracket, close the bracket, and this will give me 11. So even though I'm reading this value, this fellow is first trimming whatever is inside bracket. It is first performing this operation, then after it has trimmed whatever output you got, you are taking a length of that. So is this clear what we have done?
Yes.
Okay. So then there are date functions: day, year, month, time, date, diff, days, So can you tell me, Sally, you know about these functions: day, year, month, time, date, diff?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so can you tell me what is day returns?
Sir, day will display the day which is on that date. Then year will display the year going on year. Then month will display the month. Likewise, time will show the current time. Date difference is difference between the days. Means
so let's say
23
what is the date difference of Monday to Tuesday? Yeah, so date difference is 1, right? So and the days is like if you give 2 days, 2 dates, then again it will give you the number of dates. So let's see if I can do something over here. So let's say I write a date. So let's say is there a now function? Yeah, so there is a now function over here, and let's see what is prints. So this is a now function which I have implemented, which is giving me the correct the present time over here, right, which is 5:39. Now if I let me see apply a day function on this. Let me put this in a separate. So I can say day of this. Let's see if it reads. So day of this is 14, means 14 is the date, the current date. Let's say the month of this. Month of this is 8th month. And what is the year? Year is 2022. Date if let's say equal to now. Okay, now it has become 5:40. So basically this time will keep changing because I have set it over here. But let's say I now instead of doing this, what I'll do is I'll just copy this for now and I'll paste special. So this paste special means it is not going to copy the formula. Okay. Paste, where is paste special? Paste special. Am I copying the formulas anywhere? Date and time. No, see, formulas I have not checked it over here. So that means it will not copy the formula. It will take the value of it and put it. It is put some numbers actually. Okay, let me do something. Let me 0814. I'll just type the date and 08 16 22 and let me see equal to date. Is there a date diff? Returns the number of whole days, months and years between start date and end date. Okay, so start date is this, comma, start date, and end date is this, and close. Error 11. What is error now? So I have not used this function. So date diff, I do not know what is happening. Let's say maybe is it formatted. Let's format the cell in date format. 1239. So date, yeah, this is okay. Okay, interval. So let's say I pass D. So now I got number of days in this, the difference in the days, so if I had 09 14 22, I can calculate the month also. Date diff, I say start date is this and end date is this, and the interval also I have to specify. So interval is month. I want to know how many months are there. So I'm getting answer months. But if I said instead of month, if I said I want to know how many days are there, I would have got 31. So that is how date diff is used. So if I just wanted to, I think, calculate days also, it would give the same value, but days will just give the days, just have to give the date value. So let's say I want to know the date between 0814 to some other value. So let's say some other value is 0 January 31 2024. I want to know the number of days between this date and this date. So what I'll do, I'll say equal to days. I think this should work. Yeah, so the first date I give is 8/14/22 B6 row and column, and the second one is B9 row and column, and then say. So I'm getting minus 535 because we are minusing a kind of a smaller number from the bigger number. So if I had reversed it, if I had said B9 and B6, it will give you a positive value. Yeah, and if I wanted to make it like let's say if it is negative and I wanted to change it, perhaps kind of positive value. I think absolute should work. ABS absolute is a function. Yeah, so I got a positive value. So I have applied an absolute function on the, even if it is negative, it will change it to positive. So again, as I told you, you have to be aware about the functions. If you are not aware about which function to use, you will not be effectively be able to use your spreadsheets. And if you are not able to use a function, then also you will not be able to do your data analysis properly. Okay, are you aware about any of this? If, SUMIF, COUNTIF, MINIF?
Only if, sir.
Okay, tell me what if does.
Means if is for the condition. If this condition satisfies, then continue like that.
Correct. Okay. Prajakta, are you aware about any of these functions?
Actually, sir, I'm also aware about if function. Means I heard about all these things, but I'm not using.
Yeah.
Currently, I'm not using all this.
Yeah. So let's say so if there's let's say if B and C. So I'll say equal to if. So this is very simple, right? If what you're testing is for value in this B3 equals I think this is how it is done, I'm not very sure, is equal to A, then you print B, which is C3 column, or else you print C, which is D3 column. Let's see what it prints. So it has printed B. So I hope you all have understood the formula. In the first, I have done B3 equal to A. I am testing the condition. If I said B3 is equal to if B, then the condition would have been false. This condition would have become false, and because it is false, it will print D3, right? So let's see, it prints D3. In the same way, you can deal with numbers also, 10, 20, and let's say 30. So you can say if, which is sorry, I have to start with the equal to sign. If equal to if open bracket B3 is less than 35, or you can say just let's say you have these marks, okay, let's say 10, 40, 75 equal to if B3 is less than 35, then we want to print the text called we want to say this is a fail. If it is not less than 35, means definitely it is greater than equal to 35, which means it is. So when you're dealing with this, sometimes pass. So the first fellow is fail. Then I'll copy this formula. When I copy the formula, the cells also gets copied. Okay. So here, if you see, the formula is B3 less than 35. Because I copied over here, this has become B4 less than 45. Means this formula is reading from this value. So I can, if I have lot of values over here, 100, 35, 23, say 89, something, and I want to do things very quickly, right? 43, and I want to copy this formula. So all that I do is I say Control C and I paste it over here, Control V. So it is immediately giving me who is pass and who is fail over here. So this is a very simple but let's say if it is pass, I want to know what is the if it is like greater than is it a distinction or is it like less, not a distinction? I want to know that also. So what I will do, let's say I repeat the same formula something. I'll say if, so it is like I need two conditions then, no? So this is a complex condition. If B3 less than 35, then I definitely know it is a fail, right? So I'll say it is a fail. But now if it is not greater than, if it is not less than 30, if it is greater than 35, it will come in this part. Now here I can have another function, another if condition. I'll say if now B3, again I'll say B3 is greater than 75, greater than equal to 75, then definitely this is a distinction. Else I will say it is pass, and I'll put 2 brackets because some formula mistake. Acha, this fail. Is it come proper? Okay, now I'll simply copy this formula and paste it over here, and want to know who all have got distinction and who is less than this. So again, now I've got distinction also, I've got this also. Siley, did you understand this
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Prajakta, did you understand how this is created?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. Count if means let's say you got some you copied some data, data you got in this format. Then some columns did not have the value, some columns had the values. Now ideally, if you do count, let's see B3 to this, I'm getting 10 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Acha, it is not counting the space. Let's say this is A. B3 to 13, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 11 values are there. Okay, this let's see quickly, can we see something? Okay, let's say count if range. So range is this to this, like B3 to B13, and the criteria. Criteria is applied on the range. Can I say is blank? You want to know count the number of blanks. Let's say then returns true. Blank of we do this. When I've forgotten, but anyway, let's see. What I wanted to see is some help. How does count function work? Let's say count function in Excel we see. As a count will count the numbers. That's why count if okay, so it's saying count A1 to A5 if the value is equal to 20, right? So say I wanted to know how many cells are there with spaces. It should work, no? Then there are 2 spaces in this. So I'll say equal to count if. So first of all, you tell what is the data range and what value you are looking for. So let's say I am looking for a space value, and let's see what it does. So I'm getting the answer as 2, which means there are 2 blank values. And let's say instead of this, I'm going to check how many people have will this work greater than 75? No, greater than 75 does not work. If I put it in the quotes, will it work? Greater than 75, 2 people have got. No, there are 3 people, so this is not right. Let's say I want to know how many people have got 75, so it is 1. So that is what count does. And definitely that condition that I said just now, greater than equal to 75, that should be possible. You have to just figure out how to do that. And sum if means, so sum is the range, let's say range. Sum is colon B3 to B16, comma, what is the criteria? Let's say criteria, will this work greater than 75? And let's say what is the sum range? I don't know, but let's say give the same values. Some formula mistake. Okay, even I am struggling with this, but sum if means use sum if some condition is satisfied, count if some condition is satisfied, calculate the minimum if some condition is satisfied, do calculate the maximum if some condition is satisfied. That is what it means. So here, so we are trying to eliminate certain data values from the data set based on the condition. So if there is 1, 2, 3 A, B and C, then we want to eliminate A, B and C and count only, or let's say if we don't want to count some numbers also, you can specify this in this fashion. If empty means you're trying to see whether something is empty, whether something is null or something is not available. For example, let's say if I do this A, this is not giving me distinction. So you see, this is a formula that it needs to be corrected. If you put any text, it will give you distinction, means a wrong data has been passed and you're getting the wrong output also. So so you need to have a way to verify if it is a number. So so ideally you should be checking for something like equal to if number B4, then print B4, else put a space. What will happen? This does not work. Is there a is number, is value? Let us search what is a function. Yeah, so we'll be dealing with functions more, but I hope you all understand. If null means something like you're checking for condition. Let's say is this blank, where the blank function is there. Let's see if blank, blank is not there. If empty, right? If empty, if this cell is empty, then you return say no data available, and if it is not empty, then you print the data itself, that is whatever the B11 string is, and close the bracket. What is happening? Why it is giving this? Let me copy the formula on top and see. Here also not working. If empty function is not there. So if empty, I saw just now, is not there. So this is LibreOffice, no? That's why it is not there. Let's say if any will work. If not available, this value, you print data not available. So data was available, so it did print that value. Let's say what happens in the second case. So since the data was not available, it is printed 0 over here. So that is how the formula is working. Can I print something other value third? Why didn't print? I did print. If not available, B11 as a value, comma, alternative value, let's say -1. It is still printing 0. I don't know why. Okay, anyway, we'll have to study these formulas, and what is the time? Yeah, if you can just take a screenshot of this and just work with these formulas, it will be nice. So just like so we'll come back to these functions later, okay, not now. I just wanted to show you what all functions are there and etc. So that's just like you saw some if conditional function, there is some statistical function like average, median, mode, standard deviation, quartiles, correlation, all this. So mean is basically your average, okay. Means if you want to calculate as Saili said some time back, right, it is a sum of all values divided by number of data values, that will give you the mean or an average. So this is your numpy utility you're using in I think this is Python. Import numpy as np, and then this is the data sets heights. You have a data set which is an array of 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 values, and you're using np dot mean of heights. Means heights is an array, means it's a data set, and then you're getting an average value over here. So for this to try out this code, you have to try this code in Python. So average, as we know, is a mean value that we already know. It's a kind of a middle value, you can say. Yeah. So tell me, what is the difference between average and median?
Sir, average is the what you can say total number of values are divided by the numbers, and median, it is the mid value of the data.
Okay.
Middle value.
Okay. So let's say 1, 3, 4, 5. And 6 are there. What is the average and the median in this?
Average is 1 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 upon 5.
Correct. And what is the median?
And median is 4.
Very good. It is a middle value. So this can also be 20, and this also could be -6. It doesn't matter. What is the this will be ordered first of all, and once you order it, I don't know whether median the data has to be ordered or not, but the thing is it will take the middle data point. I don't think the order it has to be necessarily be ordered or something. So if let's say this is like positive and this is negative, this is not in ascending or descending order, it will take till the middle value over here. And if it is even number like this, then you take the average of not the average, you can say what it says, find the value at the position n by 2, and okay, so it says median, arrange the observations in ascending order. Okay, so if you want to ascend, so what you need to do, you need to take this data and let's say you need to sort this data. So you sort it in ascending order. So now it is in ascending order. So as I told you, it has to be ordered. I thought I was not sure about it, but the thing is, it has to be ordered in ascending order before you calculate the median. Once you have calculated in median, then you take the average of, if it is an even number of data set values, then you take the average of these two, which is like 3 plus 4, 7, and 7 divided by 2 is how much? 3.5. So the median would be 3.5 in this case, which is not existing in the data set. So I hope you understood the difference between average and median. So so again here there is a this is a Python way of doing it. Is first it is has this, it defines the heights data set. Then the next line it says heights.sort, which will sort the data. The moment you sort the data and you print heights, you'll get it in this format, 140, 150. You see, well, the data was given in this format, but here when you sorted it came in this format. And once you get a sorted data, you can apply the median. So the np dot median of heights, so you apply and assign it to median. So where the median is 168, which is the middle value. So mode is the maximum, the number which is repeating maximum number of times. So let's say 168, 170, 150. So if you see the maximum number of times a particular number is repeating is 150. There is over here number 3 at position number 3 and whatever position number 10. So this 150 is a max. This 150 number is repeating more times. So if you want to know what is how many times James D'Souza has been existing in this data set, then you have to look out for a mode. Okay, so how many times, what is the max, which data is coming the maximum number of times in the data set. Okay, any idea what is a variance? Saili, Prajakta, any idea what is a variance?
No, sir.
Okay, so we'll start doing this. So I minus mu. So first of all, this sign on the left hand side is your sum of all values, right? Sum of all values starting from position number 1 to n. And xi would mean the data at value number 1, data at value number 2. For example, in this case x1 would mean 168, x2 would mean 170, 150 would mean x3. So that is what xi would mean, the values. So before you add, first you have to subtract it from mu. It says mu, I think it's referring to mean, and you already know what is a mean formula. Mean formula is an average, so it is a sum of all values divided by n. So what you're trying, when you're trying to calculate a variance, you're taking each value, then you're subtracting it from the mean value, then taking a square of that, and then you're adding it. It is like a kind of a sum of products, that we did something similar. You're taking mean is 150, so x1 minus 150 would be 18. Then you take 18 square, and then you go to the next value. 170 minus 150 is 20, then 20 square. So you're keeping on adding all this, and then finally dividing it by n, which is like 10, right? Total 10 values are there. That is what this formula is doing. That is variance. I will explain a more deeper meaning of variance. First, I'm just trying to tell you all that to calculate variance, you're taking all the data values and then you are comparing it with a what value? With a mean value. Means in Hindi, like we say, ये इससे कितना लंबा है, average. From the mean, how bigger he is. Something like that. Variance means varying, means change. How much it is varying from the average value. Sometimes we say, मैं तेरे से कितना शाना है. So we have that mean value of कितना शाना है, and then we find out variance from that. That is what is variance. So standard deviation is nothing but a square root of variance actually. You're taking a square root. The thing is here variance is in square, so it is giving 235, but 235 doesn't mean anything to us. in a way. No, it is not telling me, like looking at this data set, what 235 means. But if you look at this value, standard deviation, it is taking the square root and then coming with a value. So it is a square. What is happening is you are taking a square root of 235. Square root of 235 is actually 15. This is what is called standard deviation. So standard deviation and variance are dealing with the same numbers. One is mu, which is mean value. One is your data values and the total number of values. Now what it actually means in real world. So definitely now I hope you will have understood how to use this formula. np.std means it will calculate the standard deviation. You don't have to, you just give the data set and it will calculate everything and give it to you in using NumPy. So that is the advantage of using NumPy. You should be familiar with using NumPy utility also in Python in order to do a good data analysis. So this is how you programmatically you can do your data analysis. So what standard deviation means we got the answer as 15, right? So 15 would mean standard deviation of 15 means the data is varying. Now not all the data is mean value. No, there will be 10, there will be 12, there will be 13, and there is an average value. But what is the variation? How much? What is the range of variation? The range is minus 15 on the left hand side from the mean to plus 15 on the right hand side. So total 30. So that is what it means. What is how much it is deviating. The data values are deviating by a range of 15 around the mean. That is what standard deviation. How much it is deviating means how much ये कितना मुड़ के वो बाजू में खड़ा रहता है. मतलब that is what the data means. So if you draw, like there are around 57 data points over here, right? This is 1, this is 2, let's say this is 10, this is 20, this is 40, this is 100, and it keeps on, and you're printing it. So I hope you all are comfortable with x-axis, y-axis. This is the x-axis on the down, and the vertical line is your y-axis. So if you want to get the median, you are actually getting the middle number, which is a 29 data point. So this value over here, this dot is the median over here. So it is showing the value on the x-axis, but average, if you see, it is somewhere in the middle. Means something is going up, something is coming down. You want a mid number, what is an average value. So that is what that green line would mean. So it is a y-axis value. And what would standard deviation would mean? Standard deviation would be around this value. So we'll see, look at that also. Basically the range is like it is ranging from the upper bracket over here, from here to here. So that would you can say closely your variance will be somewhere over here. I hope you can see my cursor. Let me see a print screen of this, and so as we know, this is the average value, right? This is the average actually over here. So and standard deviation will be around this, right? It will be if you want to take all these values and know what is the standard, in what range values are fluctuating, you can say the values are on an fluctuating at a rate of plus 15 on this side and minus 15 on the other side of the mean. So it is fluctuating over here. So this is in order to get a rough understanding, summary of the entire data set. You cannot read all the data values, but if you know the median, if you know the mean, if you know the variance, if you know the standard deviation, you can deduce something. You can say, oh, the middle value is around this number, the average is around this number, the deviation is around this range. Okay. Then we come to quartiles, right? No, I want to do quartiles now. I think we can stop over here for now. Standard deviation and variance. And any questions so far?
No, sir.
sir.